Hello everyone. Today I'm sharing with you how to reduce bounce rate in store design. This is a problem that many sellers easily overlook when looking at data, yet it's one that deserves to be addressed first. Because you'll find there's traffic and people enter the store, but they leave very quickly. A high bounce rate often means one thing: your page discourages users in the very first moment. Below, I won't talk about superficial goals like lengthening dwell time, but rather start from the root cause of why users leave immediately and break it down step by step. How should store design be done to truly reduce the bounce rate? First, the conclusion. A high bounce rate isn't because users aren't interested, but because entering the store is awkward. This is the most crucial point. Most bounces aren't because users don't need the content, but because it's incomprehensible at first glance. They don't know what to look at. The page is tiring to read. Bounce is a direct result of comprehension costs and psychological resistance. The first hurdle. If users can't understand within 3 seconds, they'll leave. This is the first hurdle that generates high bounce rates. Many pages have the following problems. Lots of information, comprehensive content. But the first screen lacks focus. The user's psychological state upon entering is, I need to put in some effort to understand. In e-commerce, once users feel they need to put in effort, the bounce rate increases dramatically. The first step in reducing bounce rates is, the first screen should only do one thing. Clearly tell the user what you're selling. The main selling point should be immediately visible. It's not about having too little information, but about making it effortless at first glance. Third, the second high bounce point, lack of direction on the page. Many users don't leave immediately, but rather glance at the page and then leave. The reasons are often unsure of what to do next, unsure of what to see next. If the page structure is modules laid out flat. Each module is roughly equal in importance. No clear guidance. Users will enter a state of, I'll just browse around. And browsing around in most cases is immediately exiting. The key to reducing bounce rate is providing a clear browsing order, letting the previous screen naturally lead to the next screen, not making users make their own path judgments. A sense of direction is one of the core factors in reducing bounce rate. The third hidden bounce point. The page is too noisy from the start. This is a very common but often overlooked problem. For example, too much promotional information, dense promotional keywords, multiple emphases appearing simultaneously. The user's first feeling is not a good deal, but rather, it seems rushed and noisy. This feeling directly triggers defensiveness, leading users to subconsciously exit. To reduce bounce rate, restrain promotional information. Don't overshadow the main content, appear only in key positions. The quieter the first screen, the more likely users are to stay. The fourth source of bounce rate, excessive information density leading to reading fatigue. Some users are simply tired of reading. Page display issues, too much content crammed into one screen, too many words, too many images, too many key points. The user's brain needs to constantly switch focus. Before they even develop interest, they're already fatigued. Design features that reduce bounce rate typically include one key point per screen, a sense of breathing space between modules, information presented in batches rather than all at once. Bounce rate often stems from getting tired before even understanding. Sixth, the fifth often overlooked point, unclear main selling point, directly deterring hesitant users. If a user enters the store and finds many products, but no clear main selling point, each seemingly equally important, they will instinctively think, I'll look at other stores. It's not that you're bad, but that you've placed the pressure of choice on the user. The key to reducing bounce rate is clearly define 1 to 2 main selling points. Use others as supplements. Make them visually and spatially distinct. Reducing the burden of choice reduces bounce rate. Seventh, the sixth bounce trigger: lack of or overly late trust information. Before the user has built trust, if the page shows no reassurance signals and doesn't mention after-sales service, guarantees, or rules, even if the product looks good, they will choose to leave. This is a very typical cautious bounce. Effective ways to reduce bounce rates include prioritizing trust information, not overshadowing the main message, appearing before the user hesitates. Trust is not a sales tool, but a prerequisite for staying. 8. Why do some seemingly ordinary stores have such low bounce rates? You'll find some stores that have uncomplicated pages and unpretentious designs, but maintain consistent user dwell time. The reason is often not superior design, but rather that they do three things right. The page is easy to understand upon entry. No need for users to navigate. No interruptions or rushing. Low bounce rate is essentially a smooth experience. A very practical self-check method for bounce rate. You can quickly check yourself using these questions. Can the user understand the first screen immediately? Does the page provide a clear reason to continue? Are there any elements that create tension or fatigue upon entry? Do users need to decide which to look at first? If two or more of the elements are negative, a high bounce rate is almost inevitable. Here's a very practical piece of advice for sellers. To reduce bounce rate, don't immediately redo the entire store design. Start by reducing resistance. Remove distractions from the first screen. Clear the structural order. Define the main focus and the user path. When users enter the store, they won't need to think, won't be interrupted, and won't feel anxious. The bounce rate will naturally decrease. In short, reducing bounce rate in store design isn't about retaining users, but about not scaring users away. When your page is easy to understand, smooth to navigate, quiet, unobtrusive, and unhurried, users staying is often a natural outcome.